This is one of the symbols of the dojo. This is a writing by the founder of Aikido, the late Grandmaster Morihei Ueshiba. This was presented to me by the current head of Aikido today and the legitimate successor to Morihei Ueshiba, the founder of Aikido, Grandmaster Kishomaru Ueshiba. When I left Japan to return to America, he presented me with this scroll and told me to open good school in America. It took 15 years. Like anything, it doesn't come easy, doesn't come quickly. Aikido training takes time, takes a commitment, a little bit of loyalty, a little bit of sacrifice, lots of sweat. But if you continue, if you persevere, you can always achieve your goal. I think I'm rather untalented and slow, so maybe it took me so long to develop this school. But I think in your training, you need to have patience. Please don't give up. Always try your best. Never give up. And you will achieve your goals. With this in your mind, let's continue with our practice. Ukemi is one of the important aspects of Aikido training. Ukemi is a method to protect yourself when the technique is applied against you. It's important to practice the correct method of Ukemi so that you can protect yourself and be safe and free from injury during your practice. The best way to start, or the easiest way, in my own opinion, is to begin with a backward Ukemi. Start with a gentle rocking motion from the seated position. Gradually work your way up to the kneeling position to finally you reach a point where you can take the backward Ukemi from the standing position. Don't try to force yourself and don't throw yourself against the mat, but think of backward Ukemi as kind of sitting down in a low chair until finally you reach the floor and roll. As you take backward Ukemi, it's important not to let your head hit the floor. Keep your head off the ground, off the floor. If you feel that you're bumping yourself too hard in any one place, it means that you're not doing the Ukemi correctly. The Ukemi should feel smooth and light. You should feel confident that you can take the Ukemi from any position. Ukemi takes lots of practice, but those who excel in Ukemi almost always excel in the technique itself. Ukemi is a matter of practice, and I believe that you can never get enough Ukemi training. It's important to do these kind of exercises by yourself until you develop enough skill. And then part of the Ukemi, or the most important part of the Ukemi, is to develop your Ukemi skills when training with your partner in the execution of the techniques. From backward rolling, go into forward rolling. Most people have kind of a fear of falling forward, but practicing Ukemi should eliminate that fear, and you should be able to have confidence to roll from any position. Again, please don't hit your head. If you feel that you're bumping your shoulder or bumping your hip or your tailbone, you have to understand that probably there's something wrong in your Ukemi. Ukemi is one of the best ways to develop physical conditioning and flexibility. Always increase your Ukemi, develop speed in your Ukemi, but it should never be too hard. It should never be too stiff, but always light and free and very clean. Rolling continuously is another way of developing your skill in Ukemi. You should roll on the right side, roll on the left side, and also practice rolling, alternating from right side to left side. Once you learn the basics of Ukemi, there are many ways you can develop your own exercises to further develop your skill. In Aikido, it's important to have equal skill on the right side and left side. Ukemi should be taken from a short distance, very small ukemi, and then one should be able to take very large ukemi too. It's always important to remember to practice safely. Don't get injured. Always develop yourself so that you have enough confidence and skill to take ukemi freely without any fear of falling or without any fear of hurting yourself. One way of practicing ukemi is to use another person to practice developing height and distance. Some people develop skill in ukemi where they can jump over 3, 4, and 5 people. But again, please practice safety first. I can't stress enough how important it is to develop good skill in your ukemi, to develop your training and your practice. Using your partner to develop a koshinage ukemi is also very beneficial to your training. Rest your forearm on his back and use the ukemi much like you're taking a regular ukemi. As you develop skill in the koshinage ukemi, let your partner increase his height to a kneeling position and then gradually to a stooping position, and then practice your ukemi skill. Remember, you shouldn't be landing too hard on your shoulder or head or back. I notice from my own experience that some students have an initial fear of taking ukemi from the hip throw or koshinage. If you allow the student to rest on your back, as you understand how to balance your partner's weight on your lower back, one can benefit by learning the proper koshinage technique, and one can also at the same time learn the proper way to take ukemi for koshinage. I think one finds that by practicing in this method, that koshinage becomes the easiest way to take ukemi. I don't think everyone calls this handshake style, but this is another way to practice, develop ukemi for the break fall, or a little bit harder type of ukemi training. You should hold the hand as if you're shaking hands with your partner and allow him to throw you first very gradually, very softly, and then gradually increase the speed and the intensity of the throw until you're taking ukemi in a break-fall fashion. Following same sequence, cutting back this way, basic ikkyo. Now change approach. Step back, turn. Up, behind. Okay. What we're doing is leading him forward and turning. So in Aikido, not to collide, but lead and gradually bend his movement, bend his power, change the direction. So I'm not trying to stop him. Not trying to stop like this. Okay. Lead and turn, breaking his balance up. Lead, turn. If you need to, you apply a temi, strike. Strike, turn, step. Coming, strike. And next, this time wrap around. Same movement, just hand motion a little bit different. Wrap around. Turn. Okay. Turn. Okay. Time, turn. Okay, slowly, strike. Coming down, catch, turn. Strike, coming down, turn. And apply same technique. Turn. As you step back, strike. Coming down, turn. In this tenching movement, it's important to step back in relation to your opponent's power and the distance he's covering in his attack. Too short, too far is no good. But always blend, always try to harmonize with your opponent's movement. Then you find this kind of technique very easily offsets his balance, and execution of the throw becomes only secondary. Sometimes change the direction. Never stay in the same place. Move. Lead your opponent in ways that he doesn't understand. Always blending with his movement. Always trying to catch his timing. Change wraparound style. And sometimes first one. You need to go slowly. Works fine. As long as you blend with motion, catch his timing, works fine. Time, don't show him the technique. More advanced. Making more use of his timing and spacing. Then later, lead with your energy. Catch his energy. And let your opponent rest. Don't give him bad time. Strike. Okay, he's grabbing my hand, stepping back, going forward. We see many of these are kind of hand movements, coming to sway, coming forward, coming behind, turning, this kind. We've been seeing a lot of this kind of hand movement in Aikido training. This is part of our basic practice. And I think some people wonder, they don't know anything about Aikido, seeing Aikido for the first time, why only hand movement? Why only hand movement? So maybe Aikido technique appears to be quite limited. Hand movement in Aikido, this is the best way to train to understand your opponent's power. Okay? Actually, when he's grabbing our hand, immobilizing our hand, He's holding tight, hold strongly. Now it's very difficult to move. This is when we're in the biggest danger. I'm trying to get away. Second opponent comes, third opponent comes. While I'm trying to get away, his fist is coming. Sometimes foot comes, kick comes, whatever. So the idea, even though he's immobilizing my hand, if I struggle like this, I'm putting myself in big danger, but still I can move easily. Still can move easily. Okay. This is the kind of training that we have to develop, that even though the hand is being restricted, we still have freedom of movement. We still have freedom of movement. And this is important. For instance, in the technique that we've been doing now, strike, pull back, coming forward, using first, second, third, fourth hold. Sometimes we feel like it's very difficult to come back. I feel like if I'm going here, it's going to be very, very difficult. Okay? He's holding very strongly. It's going to be very difficult to come back. If he relaxes, if he's not that strong, I'm stronger than him, I got him at disadvantage, the easiest to come this way and move. But sometimes he's very strong, kind of smart, knows what's going on. Now it's very difficult. I feel like it's very difficult to come back. It's easy to change in Aikido. Somehow I feel like I can't break this balance coming back. If I'm struggling here, I'm really wasting my time. I'm really putting myself in danger. So in this feeling, he's holding well, cannot go back, moving side. Same technique. Okay? Cannot like this. Sometimes very hard. Okay? Side. Coming forward. Sometimes when his power is coming this way, very difficult to bring him forward, especially hold strongly. Very difficult to bring forward like this. Very difficult to bring forward. In that kind of case, side is very easy. Okay? He's like this. If I pull like this, it's hard. He's grabbing me, I pull back, it's hard. Make fist, pull like this, very hard. Sideways, very easy now. So in the case where I feel like it's very difficult to pull him forward, very difficult for me to go back, side. Okay? Sometimes moving this way. Strike. Distract him more. So he's holding well. Strike. Or move side, cut down. Then same movement, coming forward. It's your technique. Moving side. Second hold. Moving side. Third hold, we've seen before. Moving side, catching. Fourth hold, and so forth. Then people wonder, what happens if he lets go? Okay, he grabs me. Why is he grabbing me? He's trying to hold me, trying to restrict my movement. Hold me, I can get away. His friend's coming to hit me on the head, kick me, shoot me, knife me. So I have to struggle here. Okay? But sometimes just he's grabbing like this. Kind of afraid. Okay? So if he grabs me like this, now I can do technique. He grabs and pulls away, now it's hard. He grabs, pulls away, now I have nothing here. Actually, that's not the way we practice Aikido. From the basic movement, I'm showing beginners, we are beginners practicing, we have to start static position. Okay. Little bit advanced, lead. Okay. Always in the Aikido technique, it's how to lead your opponent, how to catch his timing, how to catch his energy. Some people say lead his ki, guide his ki. It's all a matter of spacing, timing, the use of power, how to send your power forth, how to blend with your opponent's power, timing. These are all essential to the technique. If you look at Aikido technique just from grabbing 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., it's not really Aikido technique. Not without the timing, not without the energy. not without the spacing, not without the blending, not without the psychology, not without the spirit. It's not Aikido technique. Okay? He grabs and pulls back. Okay? Again, grab and pull. He grabs, pulls. Now, nothing here. I can do the technique. No, catch his timing. He grabs and pulls back. At the moment he's grabbing, he's already into the technique. The technique doesn't start after the attack. The technique starts with the attack. If you're at the founder's level, technique starts before the opponent even moving. Technique starts before the opponent even has the mind to attack. But I'm not at that level. Maybe we're learning Aikido today, we're not at this level. But as he's grabbing, waiting till after, moving, nothing here. As he's grabbing, already catch. Then you can move. Okay? So this question comes up. If he grabs, what happens if he lets go? It's not a question of the technique. It's a question of the timing. It's a question of spacing. A question of his power, which is essential, equally as important as how you move your foot, going forward, going backward, your hand going up, down. The consideration of timing, spacing, equally important. Grab. Technique is already starting. Even though he lets go, still strike. And I'm already caught his foot anyways. Okay? If he grabs and lets go, this is very difficult. Grab again. When he's in the action of grabbing, the technique is already in operation. If the technique starts after his attack, he already went home. He already attacked and went home. Nothing here. No. Okay. Then, in the process of executing the Aikido technique, we have lots of freedom. So, in some case, he doesn't want to touch me, but I don't have to touch him either. Okay. Then, gently, kindly stretch the shoulder and neck. So, in all the techniques that we're discussing throughout the continuing lessons, we may be going slowly, we may be breaking the techniques down in various sections. Easy for you to understand, easy for you to catch on to the movement. Which way does my foot go? Which way does my hand go? But in the execution of the technique, we always have to take into consideration the timing, his distancing, spacing, his power, and at the same time, his psychology, his mental state. This is very, very important. When we combine all of this together, then I think we can come closer to what Aiki means, or Aikido. What is Aikido? What is the way of Aiki? This is important, this concept of blending. Blending is not simply going same direction in a mechanical sense. It has something to do with the psychology, spirit, mind, energy. And these are not mystical things, vague things. These are very real things that we have to practice, study, research, and try to understand. It's not separate from the Aikido technique itself. That's why training is so important. It comes, no chance to pull back. No chance to pull back. So he wants to escape, so I'm letting him escape. Easy to escape anytime. Anytime he wants to escape, it's okay. Run away, run away, run away, running away, running away, running away. It's okay. It's not a matter of running away, it's just a matter of this connection that we're maintaining. So I'm not doing anything. All the basic techniques that we've been practicing so far. Yongkyo. Wrist turn. Shonai. So he's trying to run away, I think. I think he's trying to run away from me. Okay, continuing with a one-hand grab. Okay, this time change a little bit. Step back, strike. Called tenching movement. Okay. Strike. 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 Usually we use this in a form of punch. Okay, when he's coming, come down here, strike. Stepping back, fading back from your opponent, stepping away from your opponent. So this is the third principle. First one is entering movement, turning, and now fading back. So we call tenkong, turning, irimi, entering movement, now tenshin, fading back. So in the case of striking, he's coming here, one foot stepping back. Okay? This type of movement we incorporate into now the hand grab technique as we've been practicing all along in this lesson. Now cross hand grab, not trying to fight his power. Okay? This time stepping back, come up towards his head. Okay? Towards his head. Towards his head. Okay? Remember, you have to move your feet. He's grabbing here, not reaching out towards him. Okay? Not pulling in towards myself, but creating circle going towards his head, creating circle towards his head. So if I'm here, stepping back, creating circle going towards his head, just like our ocean wave, moving here and back. This is what's drawing your opponent forward, over, and back. This is how we're breaking his balance. So as he's grabbing, here. Okay, as he's grabbing, forward. So there's a lead here as we're discussing the way he grabs, how we pitch him into our movement. It's not simply stopping, then trying to bring his hand over. It's not stopping and pulling in. It's not stopping and trying to push forward, but using your body, creating circular movements, making him come in towards me. So in this movement, if his body stops here, not so good. If you draw him into you, much better. Then moving to Ikkyo, practicing. Ikkyo. Number 1 hold. Number 2 hold. We've been practicing. Even number 3 hold. Practicing. These all I hope you remember. And some of the other techniques, some of the other attacks, we've been using these basic holds all along. Okay. Inside. Okay. Remember, it's not just grab and then he lets go. Okay. Again, he grabs and pulls back. Nothing here to work with. Grabs, pulls back. Nothing here to work with. Catches movement as he's grabbing. Okay. You have to catch him when he has, at the moment that he's grabbing you, not at the moment he's grabbed you, completed this motion and thinking, oh, I better do something else. As he's grabbing you, catch him. Okay. Then keep this connection. Then next, continuing this cross hand grab. Instead of now stepping back, go back to entering movement. Forward. Okay. Forward. Again, the idea in the entering movement is to move behind. Okay, if I'm here, this is not enough. Okay? Sometimes we're too anxious to do the technique and we cut our movement too short. I'm here, not enough. Okay? Completely behind. Okay? So my feet should shadow his feet. As I slide in, my feet, same position as his feet. If I move too shallow, he can hit me. I'm open to his attack. Okay? Easy for him to let go, strike. So this is kind of danger zone. Also, when I begin to initiate my own movement, I'm not in a good position to negotiate him. Move behind. Okay? Move behind. Anytime I can throw him. Okay? If I get behind him, anytime I can throw him. From here, in. Now both hands lead down, back, his neck, sandwich. Then shift your hip, stepping forward, throw. We call this entering throw. We call it irimi nage, entering throw. Some people call kokyo nage, breath throw, because this kind of throw it requires lots of timing. Okay, so this time here, not pushing. When I'm entering behind him, not pushing with this hand. At the same time, when I'm entering, not collapsing. Okay, here, don't push. Don't let this hand go wild, away from me. At the same time I'm moving, don't collapse. Okay? Just leave this hand here, extend the power through your fingertips. Okay? Not here. Okay? Move behind and down. Okay? Of course, as we mentioned before, if I just stay here, wait, okay, he can just put his hand away. He can do something else. He can go home. Okay? So, but at the beginning stage, we have to start from this position so we can orient ourselves, so we can judge distance, understand spacing. We need this step in order to practice the technique. Okay? So static position, move behind. Static position, move behind. Static position, move behind. Then from the static position, here, then down, back, up, hook, step forward, throw. As you advance, as you develop the technique, as you begin to understand your opponent's timing, his spacing, as you begin to understand the way his power moves, when you begin to understand how to neutralize his attack, neutralize his strength, how to step out of the line of fire, how not to collide with him, then we can move more in the sense of blending with his motion. So basic movement, step, down, back, up, turn. Layers. Catch his timing. He's grabbing here. So not trying to move into him. The same effect is just leading him. Leading him. He grabs strongly. That's right. Very strong. Now maybe hard to move. But if I lead him, boom. Can move. Okay. Next, catch his wrist. Same movement. Same movement. But this time, instead of coming to his neck, this time coming to his wrist. Okay. Here, moving, coming to his wrist. Then, in practice, we get too anxious to grab his hand. It looks like this. Okay. I got his wrist. This is correct. But now I'm still open to his other attacks. Okay? I'm still in front of him. So I'm still in danger. So even though our hand's coming to his wrist, we still have to think about our body position in relation to our opponent behind. Okay? Not here. Okay? Not here. Behind. Then both hands bring down. Then turn his wrist over. Pin. Okay? So it's a little bit hard to do at the beginning stage, but from this movement, our entering movement becomes a leading motion. Okay? It's not here, then try to pull him to the side. Too late, you just get stuck. If I go too fast, he doesn't feel like catching my hand. If I'm here, nothing happens. Too slow, now I'm stuck. This is where through practice, constant practice, you have to catch his timing. Catch his timing. So I think it looks very easy, but somehow takes a long time to understand. This is too hard. If I go like this, nothing happens. It's just proper timing. Then also, we can adapt this technique into using same wrist turning technique, same kotegaishi technique to pin him to the ground. You can use the same technique for throwing. one more hand change in this group. Okay, moving back, coming forward. Okay, this time hands circling outside and inside. Okay, hands outside. So leading his arm in a circle. The main point is to be sure you're moving your body back at a 45-degree angle, stretching his arm before you begin guiding his hand. Okay? If I'm standing here and try to twist his arm, he's grabbing with lots of power, cannot. It's going to be very difficult, very difficult. But even though he's holding strongly, if I step back, stretch, becomes very easy. This can be very difficult. Can be very difficult. Stretch. Stepping back 45-degree angle. Stretch. Come over hook. Okay? Stretch. Hook. And guide in a circular manner. Don't try to force his hand, but let it stretch and guide it in a circular manner. Then from here, stretch, guide, catch. Going back to wrist turn. As you begin to understand this movement, try to blend with his attack. And you're moving, stretching, guiding his hand as he's grabbing you. Then next, one more variation. This time, hands coming over. If you grab, try to twist his hand, you're going to have problems again. If I grab and try to twist his hand, I'll have problems. Just turn. Again, using your whole body, pull back, just turn. Stretch, just turn your arm. Then catch, step turn. Stretch, turn, down. Then this hand, this foot, same hand, same foot, step side, making his body turn away from you. This kind of moment, if I just catch and turn this much, the body's still facing me, I'm going to have problems again. Okay? What I want to do is make him turn completely around. Now I'm rather safe. But just half turn. Too busy trying to grab his hand, too busy trying to overpower him. I'm completely open to his attack, punch, kick, whatever. Okay? So guide, complete the movement, turn. Complete the movement, turn. And also we can go back to wrist turn technique. And we can go back to our entering movement technique. And interchange this technique. When students come into Aikido, everyone wants to learn about ki. Everyone heard about the magical power or mystical power or mental power of ki energy. In Chinese, we say qi, which is the vital energy. We have many names for it: force, universal law, nature, whatever you want to call it. I think it's very important to be careful. You must study this very, very well. And you must, I believe myself, that you must look at this from the standpoint of your training, from the standpoint of your techniques, not from theory, not from conversation in the coffee house, not over tea, but something you really have to study for yourself and become enlightened to through your own training. One thing I noticed between practitioners in the East and West, in the Westerners, generally, I include myself too, we look at things more rationally. Why? What is the reason? Why? Must be logical, must be scientific, must be able to conceptualize, categorize, give it a name, give it a value, measure it. We look at things like this. Very difficult. In the East, I know among my Japanese students, they always ask, does it feel like this way? Or does it feel like that way? Or does it have this sense? Or does it have that sense? My American students always ask, why? How? Somehow find the balance. Find the reason, but find it experientially too. Try to feel it too. So maybe if you take both East and West, try to understand it logically, reasonably, but also try to understand it from your experience and from your feeling, from your intuition, from your sensitivity. Maybe through this way you get a better idea. Sometimes they do many key exercise, but I don't want to go through that kind of thing. One thing we can see is your human energy. So how do you show this? Not easy. And I don't want to give you something which just looks like playing or looks like not legitimate. Grabs my hand, okay. He pushes, okay. Very easy to collapse. We try to resist. He pushes, push. Very easy to be collapsed, okay. When he's grabbing and pushing, very hard to resist. Somehow we have the idea of we extend our energy forward. And his push, keep balance, keep balance, keep balance, okay? So we call it keep your center. We call it project your energy, project your power. Okay? You could say many things. Make your mind clear. Keep your center, whatever. Okay? Small concentration. Don't be fleeting. Don't be dead. He grabs, this is no good. He grabs, you try to push it, this is no good. Relax, proper extension, proper balance. Somehow, energy flows. So in one way, I think this is not very good metaphor, but like the garden hose doesn't force the water. The pressure forces the water out. But the more kinks and twists and turns you put in the garden hose, that creates resistance, so the water comes out less strong. The important thing is to take out all the kinks, take out all the twists in the water hose to allow water to come out full force. The hose itself doesn't create the pressure, doesn't make the water flow. The pressure of the water makes the water come out. But how you shape the hose helps the water to come out strongly or resist the water by the kinks and the twists and make the water come out more slowly. So this is not good metaphor, but maybe this way you can get an idea. Don't tighten your body. Okay, he's pushing, don't tighten your body. Okay, don't try to resist. Relax, extend. Okay. Then using qi, not just a way to stand still, not just a way to overcome his resistance. As he's grabbing, use his power, lead his power. This is also how we can study, how we can try to understand qi. Not he grabs, now try to pull away, try to make a movement, but leading here. Of course, if I'm too late, this is no good. Too fast, he doesn't grab. But how do you catch his movement? How do you catch his timing? Somewhere here we can find a hint, can find a link to the energy. If I just go here, it'll naturally stop. Too late, a little bit trouble. Let's find the right timing. Then later, do this one. So leading his ki, disturbing his ki, breaking his timing, establishing my power, establishing my center, establishing my balance. All these are links to ki. He's coming, he's leading his ki down. He's coming, his energy around. So ki doesn't mean to be completely passive, but doesn't mean to be completely aggressive. I think, from my own understanding, create a balance. There's an old saying, breath is life. Breathing exercises in Aikido are a very important part of training, but each teacher seems to have their own method. The type of method that we're demonstrating is the most basic method for Aikido breathing. It's very, very important to keep your balance, make your mind very, very calm. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth in a very quiet ah sound. It's important not to try to force the breath, and it's very important not to put too much power or strength into your shoulders or neck muscles. Remain relaxed. It's also very important, as I mentioned before, to keep your balance. Breathing exercises develop mental calmness, develop centeredness, develop balance, and gives you a sense of the internal aspect of the Aikido technique. Don't try to find a state of bliss, but concentrate on what's going on as you inhale and exhale. Breathing is not magic. There's nothing mystical about it. It is just a practical way of developing your mental calmness and mental balance.